Hello everyone, welcome inside the Red Earth Production Studios for this edition of YBMcast, powered by Game 7 Baseball, Game7Baseball.com. Tournaments are there. Dave and Dave got them up. World Series is there. We're going to be on the winter workout tour, checking out different places. We're going to be in Tennessee. Great venues down in Tennessee. Great venues here in Missouri, Illinois. Good stuff. Kentucky is on the way. There's still going to be some good stuff there. So make sure you go to Game7Baseball.com, register your team, get ready for the upcoming season. You know, guys, I'm an old guy, and I remember when we were waiting in January and February for the schedules. So, you know, this is cool. You know, November, you get it settled, move on, give it to your team mom, and there you go. It's easy. It's easy. Game7Baseball.com. So on the show today, folks, we've got two special guests from the Rawlings Tigers. To my right, Aaron Jaworowski, president, owner, founder. And to my right, also, Evan Pratte, and your designation.
I'm the high school director.
High school director. There we go. We're going to have a great conversation today. Hope you enjoy it. Gentlemen, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having us. We appreciate being here.
So. Absolutely.
Absolutely, man. Your program's been around a while. Let's talk a little bit because, to be honest, I don't know how you guys started that, how it got going. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. No, our program launched it was the fall of 2010. So our first season on the field was that spring, summer 2011. So we're heading into our 14th season of play this spring. You know, something we're proud of with our history and tradition that we built up. But I was in the facility business for quite a while. I started Balls and Strikes in Baldwin back in 2001, and was doing summer camps in '99 before that. So just one thing kind of led to the other, and then we launched the Tiger program in 2011 that spring. So yeah, off and running.
That Balls and Strike's been there, yeah.
It has, yeah. I kind of tease people. It's a Ted Drews of St. Louis. I know I've been there since day one, and I love that place. There's a ton of players that have been through there and made it their training home through the years, and the Walls have seen a lot there. So
yeah,
we actually just remodeled our back space. We have two 8,000 square foot facilities tied into it. In the back one, we just did a really neat renovation. So we're excited about that for this winter here coming around the corner.
Dude, we're going to have to get over there and check that out.
Yes, absolutely. Anytime. Come
on.
Oh,
yeah. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. Because I think it's so this is what I love about this part of it. There is so much going on in youth baseball. And I say youth baseball because I put high school baseball in that capacity because they're still young. I understand, you know, it's their adolescence and moving towards that, but it's still youth baseball. And high school and is still a part of that thought process as we're moving because most of these kids still need guidance. But what I think is so interesting about all of this is what we've seen from, you know, when I got into this in 2004 and where it is today. I mean, just the leaps and bounds. And I see the progression of athletes and the abilities that these kids have. And I think it goes to what clubs like yours have created. Agreed?
Yeah, no, I think it's all centered with us around player development, you know, trying to give our athletes as many resources as we can to maximize their skill set and potential. So I think it's totally shifted and changed since we started, and especially back when we were playing a long time ago. It's completely different. The stuff these kids have these days, you know, and they're better athletes and they're training more, and they seem to be more singular focused on that sport. You see it too, Evan, right?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I was a coach at Mizzou for a long time, and seeing it on the other side. Watching all the development of all these kids has been crazy. It's been awesome, and getting specialized. And this is what we try to do here with the Tigers: is make sure they're heading in a great direction. And our winter workout program helps them along that way. And we build them up right to that high school tryout, first week of tryouts in the springtime, and hopefully get them off to a great start in that spring, and then get back with them, like I said, at the end of the spring there for the summertime. But we try to make it as easy as we can, and have all the bells and whistles that they need and move them along.
Bells and whistles are good, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Evan, tell the folks a little bit. You mentioned Mizzou there. Tell them a little bit about your background, where you came from, and because we were talking before we started, and I had briefly. This is the first time I'd met you face to face. I know you don't remember. There was a lot of people there. But we were at the St. Louis Amateur Baseball Hall of Fame induction last year because I was there with the Legion program with Kevin Jett, and you were inducted, and you said you were a member of the Amateur Baseball Hall of Fame as well. So got a couple of dudes sitting here. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, I actually I grew up basically on par 5 from the Balls and the Strikes there in Baldwin. Went to Lafayette High School back in the day. Played for Bob Swift. Had a lot of great memories and good teams back in the day. And then ended up playing at Southwest Missouri State for Coach Gutton down there for a while. And then played about 5 years in the Tigers organization.
It's the Tigers, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Funny how that works. 2 years as a volunteer coach back at Southwest. Then was up at Mizzou for 20-something years, and then went to St. Louis University for about 3 years, and now here with the Tigers. So I've been kind of making the rounds here in Missouri. Been here a long time and love it.
You got a bit of it. So when you're looking at this situation, you've got a lot of experience in baseball that way. You're seeing the youth programs. Are they more prepared for high school baseball today than they were in the past?
Absolutely. That's what we try to do with our players. I try to educate our families as more than anything about the recruiting process, what's going to be coming along. Obviously, it's totally changing day by day these days. Seems like it's a crazy, crazy thing. But we try to educate them as much as they can. What do you need to do to get to college baseball? And that's what we try to hopefully help them along their path and their journey of what to expect, how to do the emails, how to contact coaches, how to call them, what to expect with camps and all that, just everything involved in it, especially with my background and being on the other side of it, knowing what's going to happen, knowing what's going to do. That's the big thing that hopefully our players have kind of taken to, and just it's a crazy process, as most everybody knows. It's not easy by any means, but we try to kind of prepare them for the pitfalls that might come about.
I want to come back to this because we're getting ready to do. It's the first time we've done this, and we're really excited about this. We're doing a dad coaches clinic.
Awesome.
It's coming up in December. We're doing one at December 9th and one on December 16th, and we've got Coach Tony Perkins. We got Coach Canavan from DeSmet, Coach Horn, Kevin Mulder, Darren Sissel, all at this camp to do these things. And the one thing that we're talking about here, and I love what you said, but I think that's on the high school side. I think the shift, some of the narrative, especially now with the new rules, right?
Yep.
We got to get, I think, back some of the youth stuff back to, let's get you ready to make your high school team. Agreed?
Absolutely. That's what we do. Every message that I send out to our players goes out to our entire organization, from 1U all the way up to whatever U type of thing. Well, everybody that we have gets the note. So
1U.
The fifth year, yeah, exactly. I want those youth players and parents to know what's going to happen when they get to 8th, 9th grade. They're not surprised when they get. So the message isn't just going to the high school guys. So we try to prepare those guys as well too, as much as we can, because the more that they know, the more they see it, the more they're going to be involved into it and know that this is going to happen at this time. This is what's going to happen when you're a junior, senior. This is what's going to happen when you're a freshman, sophomore. So they know that going in, hopefully. So they're not as prepared and as shocked when something doesn't happen when it's supposed to happen, type of thing. So we're trying to educate them as much as we can. Yeah.
Aaron, when you're talking with your group, I mean, you started this program. You guys have grown quite a bit. I think I just saw you're up in Oregon now as well. Mm-hmm. I think.
Yeah, we're in 34 states right now. So
that's got to be a task. How do you keep everybody going in the same direction?
Well, it starts at the people. It's always been that way. You want to surround yourself with really good staff that buy into your values and beliefs in the program and organization and the core values, and then I think it goes to the coaches next, where if you find coaches that align with you, well, what are they going to do? They're going to attract families you want,
right.
And then all of a sudden you have that culture that you're striving to get. So coaches and then they bring in the families, right? That's our model. But yeah, we have a really good staff in place, and we're very streamlined, organized, and people want structure. You know, whether it's
agree
staff,
with that.
coaches, parents, they want structure. They want to fall in place and go. You know, so I think just staying ahead of things and thinking ahead, working ahead, planning. You know, what do the schedules look like? Where they getting uniforms, the fanware stores, the websites, registrations, the collections on fees for tournaments, everything else. How is that all organized? And that's the part that we enjoy. So, and then we have some great coaches that are focused on the development side, you know, and that's the other big piece of it. So
It's not just barnstorming baseball, right?
No, it's changed.
Right? It's
changed.
Organized baseball.
Yeah,
You know, I think that's interesting too, because the structure you were talking about, when you're building business, I mean, it's what we do. You have to have infrastructure. You have to have those things settled. And I think that creates trust, right?
Yep, absolutely. And, you know, we're set up too. We have our directors in different cities, so we have 24 regional directors that they own and operate their club in that city, and they're using our brand and our toolbox and our resources of information that we have in place. So there's definitely a blueprint to follow for them, and you know, we definitely support them in growing their business and what that can look like. So, but there's trust there, you know, between them and us, and then us and our families here in St. Louis.
I think one of the biggest things, not to interrupt,
No,
I think
go
one
ahead.
of the biggest things that we do is we coach our coaches. We do a really good job of making sure that they're organized with everything they need as far as practice plans or lineup cards or go to this tournament instead of this tournament. So there's coaches all over the country ask us, hey, what kind of plan should we have? And we have a specific thing for each group, each level of kids. So that's really helped those guys move along. A lot of them are dads. They just don't know,
Absolutely.
and they want help with that.
Absolutely.
And they can jump on our website and they go, how do we do infield drills? Well, we got all kinds of stuff that they can look at.
You know, and that was one of the reasons why we're doing what we're doing with YBM. I mean, I'm not trying to infringe on anybody or anything like that. It's just, I think that is the key, isn't it? Because you do have dads. Even if you've played the game at some level, that doesn't mean you know how to coach it or instruct or manage it. There are so many different nuances and things, and then the expectations of what and I think the biggest key in what you put together there, and it's something I put into the structure of what we're doing with our clinic, is the structure. Do you have a coaching structure? Do you have that? Because I think that's what, if you don't do that, I think there is a lack of trust first from the player. And if the player doesn't trust you, the parent ain't going to trust you. And I think those things are key to having success. And, people go, well, how come they're so big? They're just wanting to. No, it's because there's a reason for those things, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
And I think that's the key to these things is building that trust, because, in the end, we all want success for our children, right? And you got a good one. I think I've seen your son a couple times, Nolan, and
He's got a good one too, Paul.
Paul.
He's
I
going
haven't
to-
seen him.
Yeah.
So
Right.
where's he at school?
He's at Lafayette High School. Yep. Committed to Drury.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. So I have a connection to Lafayette. Both my nephews played at Lafayette, and that's been a little while. Last one, I think Tyler was 2011. He played with Grana and Voigt and those guys his junior year.
Gotcha.
And so it's been a little bit. And I'm familiar with the program over
That's
there.
where I played too.
Yeah.
You played at Lafayette as well? My goodness.
A lot of baseball, a lot of good baseball there.
A lot of good baseball there. And I'm glad. I think, the new coach, oh, geez.
Hold the pot.
Yep. And Tyler played with his younger brother, or his old, I don't know which one's older or younger. Will. Sure. He played with Will his freshman year there. So I think that's good. What I've talked to some of the kids over there so far, they like the excitement. They like the energy that he's brought to that program. So I think that's a positive. I love that part, because I think Lafayette, there's a lot of tradition there. And I'm looking at that program. I did my too early for rankings already, and I think Lafayette's. I think they got a good shot of being in that at least the quarterfinals. I think they can win their district if Eureka's still going to be good. I think that it just depends, but high school baseball, you got have to have a lot fall right for you.
Exactly. Pieces are there. They got to play well.
Yes, they do. So, okay, getting back to this, I want to bring this up because I want to talk to you guys about this a little bit because this is a question, and I try to talk about it because I think we have to keep things in perspective. I always say this because I put my opinions out there. People like it, don't like it. It's okay. But I think a while back, and I think when we're talking about parents and trust and what you're doing developing, when Mike Matheny brought out his manifesto, never met Mike Matheny. I'm sure he's a nice guy, smart, baseball. He's been a head manager and whatnot. But I never liked the statement, the blanket statement that he made that parents are the problem. I never liked it. I don't think you can make blanket statements in that respect. Are there parents that are problems? Absolutely. Are there coaches that are problems? Absolutely. Are there umpires that are problems? Absolutely. But for the most part, I believe that 98% of the people that are in baseball in these communities are working towards the best interest of the player and what's going on and where we're moving. I believe that. We just see so much of the negative that I think that's the tragedy of it. And when you're talking about parents and their understanding of how to get where they want to go, their child, I think it's steps. And at youth baseball, we're so focused on this national huge stage. I just don't know that that's good. There's so much good competition, so much good baseball locally here, what we're doing. I'd like to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's with the youth folks, there's a lot of wins and losses. Yes. And you want to get the piece of plastic at the end of the weekend, which is great, which is awesome.
Yes.
But in 2 days, nobody knows who won the The whole thing with us is player development. Yeah. Everybody wants to win. We get it. Great. Yes. We all want to win. I get it. But at the end of the day, what's the benefit? What's the benefit of where are you trying to go? What are you trying to do? Yes, you want to be part of a team. Yes, you want to be in the championship. And yes, I get it. But you also want to be able to perform in those venues and perform in those things. And it's baseball. You're not going to win every game. It just doesn't happen.
No.
That's why you play 1,000 games. Yeah. It's not football. It's not 12 times a year and you win. It's life and death. It's just not. You get to play again in an hour. You get to play again. You get to play 20 times in the weekend. That's the beauty of this thing. It's what it is, and you get those lessons every single time. So you're gonna be 24 and 22. You're gonna be 31 and 22. It's just you're gonna lose a bunch of games. Look at the big leagues. The best teams in the world, they lose 40, 50 games. Right. And they're great. Right. So that's just part of it. So we want to try to get the emphasis on what are you developing? How are you doing things? We really try to hopefully, connect with those parents. It's not life or death if you don't win the 6U championship. It's not. Right. That's not the end of the world. Right. When you get to high school, college, okay, now it's going to mean a little bit more wins and losses. Okay, great. Build up to that point. So we try to really educate them. And sometimes you just don't reach people because they're all just, we got to win, we got to do it. That's just part of life, I think, too. But the bigger part for us is to make sure that they're prepared for high school baseball and they're prepared for college baseball, and they're going to succeed at that. Wins and losses is something different, but getting them ready for that next step is our big thing. Yeah.
And I feel like we have a responsibility, us with the Tigers and our staff to keep relaying that message to people and putting it out there. Because again, it was said earlier in the show here, those are the people we want in our program. Those parents that understand that it's not about winning. It's go play, go have fun. It's sandlot baseball at the younger ages, and then they're all going to carve out their own path. And some are going to like baseball more than other sports, or vice versa. And the kids will figure that part out, But you want to put them in a place where they're going to succeed and have fun at those younger ages. Keep it fun. Always develop. Always teach. And like you said, you're going to win some, and you're going to lose some too. It's just that's how it is.
This whole thing is about life. Yeah. It all circles back. And my dad was a high school basketball coach for 30 some odd years at Parkway West, and I grew up as a coach's son, so I'm kind of very, very thankful. It's awesome. I learned a lot of lessons. But at the same time, it's how do you, one of the biggest things my dad taught me was, how do you adjust in adversity? What are you going to do?
Right.
How do you handle that? Well, you're going to have it all the time. How do you adjust to that? That's the biggest thing what sports teaches you, obviously. And baseball's obviously a huge part of that. But when you lose and you lose and you lose and you don't get the final out and you don't get the hit, how are you going to, what are you going to do next game? I'm going to try harder. I'm going to get, so you get back into it, and that's what you're going to have to learn on the field, because you're not going to play baseball forever, obviously. So we want to prepare these guys. We're actually kind of preparing them, hopefully, for life.
Absolutely.
And they're going to go into their science test and hopefully prepare better. I always tell my kids all the time that I'm teaching now, if you know the answers to the test, you're going to do well. If you prepare for the test, whatever that is, whether it's baseball or science or math, you're going to do well if you prepare. And that's what we try to do, is get those guys to hopefully work at preparing. And now the preparing part's easier. And then at the end of the day, the test, your final exam at the end of the semester, that's going to be easier. You're going to make an A or B. Here we go in life.
I like that analogy, because you're testing your athleticism in every game. You're testing your abilities. You're testing your framework. Because one of the things we talk a lot about on the show, power plus attitude equals performance. It's something my dad taught me early on. It's something I use in my business, my life. Power, knowledge, right? We equate power with knowledge. If you know, then how do you apply that knowledge? Can you apply that knowledge? When do you apply the knowledge? And do you have the right attitude to apply that knowledge? It's always interesting to me when people talk about arrogance. Well, there's sometimes these things border a little bit on arrogance, but if you don't play with a confident mindset and understanding that I know that when that ball's hit to me, how do I approach that? Can I approach it? Is your mind in the right place? You have to have mental focus, physical focus, these two things that bring you to this place. And when you're talking about tests, that just really said, oh yeah, because you have to be mentally focused, baseball especially, because Yogi Berra, of course. But I always you're thinking, and then the physical part is a small part of the game, actually, because you're out there for probably 80% of it thinking, and then another 20% is the action.
Right.
Because unless you're a pitcher, I guess,
Yeah.
catcher, right?
Yeah.
But right, I think those are things that are so interesting, and getting parents to understand that winning is not guaranteed. I can't guarantee anybody a win. So what do you have to do to create that opportunity? And these are the things that we like to talk about. So, when you're in that youth level, do you prepare your coaches in that respect? Do they talk about those things as far as with parents? How do I keep my parents in that place that says, everybody cool? How do you prepare the parent for losses?
Yeah, no, we do. We have a whole set of core values we go by, and we also have an awesome youth director, Grayling Tobias. He was the superintendent of the Hazelwood School District, played the Montreal Expos, and he is one of the kindest gentlemen that I know. I don't know if you know Grayling, but he's wonderful. So he does a really good job with our youth coaches, and we support that with them, and we all help together. Just, again, it's relaying the message of we're not in this to win it, right? We're developing, we're making them better people. We're getting these kids ready for high school baseball. And it's the constant message. We went over at our managers meeting every year in October. We held together, and it's really the core of who we are as a club. Is we're not chasing trophies and championships. It's develop, train, get ready for high school, enjoy the game, have fun with it. So, and our coaches have bought in that philosophy, and they're the ones at the practices with the players every day and the parents, right? And again, it gets back to them attracting those type of people, and it's really worked well. I mean,
yeah.
I feel like, and I think there's other clubs in St. Louis doing similar things in this area as well.
Sure.
It's definitely a good baseball market, but it's the constant preaching of that message, and I feel like the winning at a younger age, you see it more hyped up with parents, and as you get older, I don't want this to come out the wrong way, but winning becomes less important, right, at the high school level. I know in their spring season they're going for the state championships and districts, and I get it, but and I'm talking more on the summer ball circuit, the club scene, and it's those kids want to develop, they want to train. Now they're trying to get into college, right? They're already in high school, they're playing, they're doing well, they're in a good spot, and it's some of the crazy emotions at games you see at the youth side, where high school, the parents sit back a lot more and they enjoy watching their kid play baseball. I
really feel like if we do all of this other stuff and we develop and we do, winning is going to take care of itself.
Yeah,
it's automatically going to happen.
I agree with that.
It's automatically. Yeah. We just don't want to put the emphasis on how do you get to winning. Well, we do all this other stuff.
Yeah, if you don't do this, there's no chance.
No, zero. So that's the important part that we're trying to get across. Yeah.
There's a couple of points I want to come back to what you were talking about there. But first and foremost, one of the things I always pose to parents on the show is how many parents actually come and vet your program? If they, I know we have tryouts and people go, oh, I want to go to the Rawlings Tigers. Well, why? Why do I want to take my son or my daughter? I don't know if you guys do softball. I think you do, right?
We do. Yeah, we have 5 softball teams.
To the Rawlings Tigers. Do I even know what the club is about? And I think as a parent, a lot of times we see these names, but we have no idea what the club is about. Agreed?
Yeah, and I think it's a big misconception in around the country with club baseball is parents, they don't know what they're buying.
No.
They don't. They sign up, they don't know what they're getting, when they're getting it, how they're getting it, and they just register because they want to be part of a club.
Right.
So we've really tried to do the best we can is to show them what are they buying, what are they getting from us, what are our responsibilities, and once they have that, then let's go over that and exceed them and give them more. So they know what team they're on when they sign up right from the beginning. We don't wait and slot rosters in the winter or spring, and there's different opinions on that. I get it, but
sure.
Again, we want them to know up front where they sit with us and our teams. Schedules are done early and hotels and uniforms and practice uniforms and scheduling apps, and the winter training program is laid out all in advance so they know exactly what they're getting from us. We communicate at the youth tryout. There's a lot of information there for the parents, and our staff is walking around talking to each age group. The coaches of our youth program also have a very detailed list of items regarding their team. How many games do they play? Do they travel? What are their expectations? Do they want multi-sport athletes? Where do they practice? Where most of the family's from in St. Louis area? Those are all things parents need to know when they're making these decisions. So the more upfront information we can give them, then they can make an educated decision. So I don't. There's a lot to it.
That's good stuff.
You gotta plan. You gotta be ahead of the wave. So.
And I think I would encourage more parents, go ask these questions, right?
That's what we tell them. Because kind of shifting back to high school maybe more than we want here, but
you're okay.
Kids go to high school tryouts, they'll try out for 5 different teams, and they'll make all 5 clubs, right? They are. They're going to have a spot on all 5 of those teams somewhere. Maybe the top team, maybe the second, maybe the third. How does our second team compare to their third team? How does our second team compare to their top team? They're all different. So and we tell parents, ask questions, ask us questions, and then go ask the other clubs that they're trying out for questions, and then what is the best fit for you guys and your son? And it may not be us.
Well, and two, that goes to this point as well, because we come back to Evan here. He's just evaluated my player. Mm-hmm. You have a pretty good background, right? Mm-hmm. So as a parent, I'm looking at that, and you get this parent go, oh, my son's better than that. I'm sure you've heard that, right?
All the time.
Well, wait a minute. This here's a gentleman never seen your child before in his life and looking at this objectively and telling you, hey, but I believe he's got this and this and this, and we can get him better. Well, he's better than that. He should be on this team. And this is where I think the issues come from, correct?
Yeah, it does. Again, it gets back to education. You say, this is what I saw. He does this, this, and this compared to this, this, and this. And sometimes you get into the, a year into it, and then the parents, some of the kids are just going to be pitchers, or some of the kids are just going to be third basemen. Well, he can play outfield. Well, it's great to play multiple positions, but you also know kind of pretty early that freshman, sophomore year, this dude's going to be pretty special on the mound. And hey, just put that bat down and let's focus on this thing here, because this is what's going to get you to the next step. And a lot of parents, a lot of kids sometimes go, wait a minute, what?
Right.
That's what's getting specialized, and that's kind of what I've done for a long time. But you can kind of see those things with a lot of guys, and sometimes they just don't want to hear it. And sometimes you have to go over and over and over and over, and then finally, he kind of kicks in. It's like that guy's a really, really good player that can also pitch and also play a position. You get to college, you're going to play one. It's very rare that you get a dual position athlete. And you'll gravitate towards those positions, that just happens by osmosis. But we try to hopefully, in that situation, say, hey, this is probably what you're going to do. Let's put all your eggs in this basket and let's roll with it. And most kids are pretty good with it.
Yeah. We have this conversation a lot with Kevin, and he'll tell me, now he's going to be a pitcher in college. If you're in a class 4, class 3, maybe even class 5 school, you don't have as big a school, and you got to play, on both sides. Hey, enjoy it, have fun, because you probably, like you said, as a pitcher, you're probably never going to pick up a bat in college.
Well, the other thing too is, okay, you're going to pitch for us in the summertime. Play for your high school, hit.
Absolutely.
Pitch, do everything.
Have fun.
And when it gets to the summertime and all these colleges are out here watching you, here's your best opportunity. Let's do this.
And you see this, and I'm sure you guys are aware of this, and I'd never noticed before, but as we're doing, we've been live streaming a lot more high school baseball, and Kevin will point out, here's a kid playing shortstop, and then pitches, he's their number 1, number 2, plays shortstop or whatnot, and you get all those. By the end of the season, his velocity's down 3, 4, maybe even 5 miles an hour just from usage. And I think that's an interesting situation where, we saw this, Luke Abishon at East a couple of years ago. He used him. He was playing shortstop, and Coach Hill used him as a closer because he could come in and just give what he's got there, and so it worked. Mm-hmm. But as a starter, that's a much more difficult ask when you're working that way. Correct?
Oh, absolutely. You get obviously a lot more taxing on you throwing 5 or 6 innings as opposed to one inning. 2 or 3 times a week. Certainly, that's how you work it. And there's been a lot of really good players in college baseball that have done that. Come in and just rip it off for an inning, and that dude's really good. Yeah, go hit, drop some bombs. But come in and throw 95 for 1 inning instead of 90, 92.
Right.
Rip it off for 95, 96 for an inning, and you go, that guy's a dude. That's what we want. Absolutely, that works. Yes. But for the long run, the guys are going to be dudes. Hey.
But in college, that's probably he's going to get, the bat's going to not be in his hand.
Right.
He's throwing 95. You're going to see that. And
Yep.
and then you're focused on that. I think those are, and I think if I love the part of the education, because youth baseball, I think, should be first and foremost fun. That should be the first point of this, because, at the end of it, let's go have a snow cone. Let's get some ice cream, hang out with the fellas. Can we go swimming at the hotel? Yes. Yep. Even if it wears them out and they don't get the championship trophy, let's have some fun. I wasn't maybe a proponent of that when I was coaching youth sports and whatnot, and I think I did wrong. So, you always look back and you go, what can we do better? How do we do better? What do we think about, and where do we put ourselves? And you have to be able to admit those things, I think, in order to get and to grow. Because as you said, Evan, I agree. It is about development, because we'll get back to practice. The kids had fun. They enjoyed the camaraderie of their friends, and so they're going to have an error. All right, we'll fix that. We'll keep working on those things. We'll keep going to that direction, because there are very few youth teams, in my estimation, that are very, very good. That teams that just, you're going to go out there and not beat them. I think there are very few of those. So I personally love that. So if we're developing these things and going back to the high school part of it, when you're dealing with high school kids and you're putting yourself in that place, you've moved to the youth, that kind of filters itself from the youth up into high school baseball, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean that's a big reset going from 14 to 15 and kind of draw a line in the sand. I know we do as a club, and we at that point that's when we really step in and take over the rosters and the slotting, and we do all the scheduling and hotels, and everything's all hands on at that point with us and our staff and the high school program, and then the parents step aside. But up until 14, they have a lot of control and say in their teams, and which the coaches want, and we're providing the structure for that. But yeah, high school is definitely a different beast than 14U, and a lot of kids will stop at 14U, and I mean it's like, as we know, it's a pyramid. And there's more kids playing at younger ages than high school, and it's hard to stay on the ladder.
Yeah,
it just is, and it gets a little more serious. So,
well, I think. And I think people need to understand this. Why are you playing at 15, 16 for a Rawlings Tigers? What would you say if I'm a parent? Why would I bring what's the point of it?
Well, we're going to educate you, like I said before, on basically life lessons. Whether you play, if you want to play college baseball, then yes, that's a one big goal that most everybody has. And it doesn't matter what level, because anymore with the recruiting, it's kind of crazy anyway. It's very, very difficult to be a Division I athlete these days. So that part plays in. So we're kind of in that 7, 8, 9, 10-year window of transitioning with all of the new things with recruiting, that the walk-on Division I guy is no longer out there. He's a Division II guy. So it's taking parents and families and kids longer to go, I'm a Division II guy now. I'm not a, yeah, you can probably play Division I, but that ain't happening anymore.
Right.
So that transition part of it's happening as well too. So we're educating them on that part of it. But we want them to come in and have great experiences. And like I said before, those experiences spill over into what you're going to do every day. It just spills over into what you're going to be, a great husband, a great family person. What are you going to do? Your relationships with your new girlfriend or your family, your moms and dads. We're hopefully teaching those life lessons along with the baseball part of it, is using that as a vehicle to hopefully help them make good grades and be, productive, citizens, all that stuff. That's kind of what, how I did it when I was coaching in college. The baseball part of it, great, but, what are you going to be here in the next 10 years? What are you going to do? How are you going to face adversity? How do you interview for your first job? How do you do that? We're going to teach you to do that in a baseball realm type of way. So that's what we try to do.
I love that. Because I think, you gentlemen played to the highest level you could, went into baseball, were able to stay within baseball, which is, I think very few people have that opportunity as well, right? And so when you're talking about college, you say this, and it's funny because people look at you like, oh, that can't be true. But what is it? I think it's 1% of all high school athletes play Division I. And when we're talking Division I, we're talking about Division I all across. Mm-hmm. I'm not talking Power 5. That gets even less, because then you're talking serious. I believe Power 5 baseball, it's just minor league baseball, right? I mean, you can say what you want to, but it's minor league baseball. Most of those kids could be draftable, but it just depends on where they are at that time. And so when you're looking at Division I coming back down to, the mid-majors, so to speak, but if you're going there, that's still tough to get to. There are so many good Division II schools, and you can transfer with the transfer portal now. There's so many options and opportunities. How do you, I know it's tough, but what do you say to parents when you start breaking that down talent-wise, where their child is at that time? How difficult is that conversation?
Well, I think that they start to recognize it. I think the older they get, really. And I think when kids come in our program as a freshman, we want them to think everywhere. Where do you want to go? I want to go to LSU. I want to go to Arizona State. I want to go to Florida State. Great, let's go. Let's work towards that, right? You don't want to stop that engine. You
Understand.
just don't,
Right.
you know. But as they get older, some kids progress differently, some grow differently, some
Yeah.
arms take off, some don't, and it all ends up sorting itself out. But what we do try to do is up schedule. So we'll try to put our teams in very difficult, challenging events, outside of St. Louis, and go to Grand Park, go play in the MPL, go play in the ABC, go to Creekside and try and get in the Supers event, go to Lake Point, play in the MPI and their national championship, because you're going to see some dudes.
Yeah.
And then when they see those teams, oh, well, that's why Vanderbilt's not calling me, because they're calling this guy. Like they see it firsthand, and the parents do. And I think it really opens their eyes as to what's out there and the level of talent that's needed to go to those top schools, and then it filters down from there. So I think over the course of their sophomore, junior, senior season, they start to figure it out. We start to help them, with that process, and Evan, and what would be a good fit and where, and where do you want to get an education, and then can you play baseball there? It should be done in that way.
I think I love this, and this is something Mulder's always said, would you go to that school if you weren't playing baseball? And I think that's a great question to ask. Why do you want – I understand Florida State. I understand, Vanderbilt or LSU, baseball, Tennessee. Okay. So you're going to Tennessee, and you're going to do what? First of all, that's going to be a tough nut to crack just to get on the field. Then, what are you going to study? What do you want to do? If you don't, I think sometimes as a parent, if you really don't understand as a player just yet, if you have the chance to go to Tennessee, okay, fine, I get it. You're that good. But still, you don't know what you want to do after baseball. You might want to just go to a JC, take all your general studies, figure out what you want. Are you good enough to be that person at that level first? Because there are still, I think, a lot of question marks within players in some of these instances. There are some guys that I think just the level of talent is there, and you're going to go and you're going to be able to play. You're seeing, I love seeing this, and it's just crazy, but watching Brett Norfleet on Saturdays, and I asked Brett before he left, I said, you can play where do you want to go? Is it after, if at college you go pro, baseball, football, He said, well, baseball's probably more. I'm like, I don't know, man. You look pretty good playing football, bro.
You're doing all right.
He's doing just fine.
And I just don't, know people understand the level of football that he's playing at as a freshman. Yeah. And being able to do that, I don't think people quite understand that.
Well, being at that level for a long time, when you get a freshman that's really good,
yeah,
you have no idea how he's going to react. No idea. You go to LSU for the first time, and there's 10,000 people there. How are you going to react? You haven't done that. You have no idea. This guy might be the best player you've ever seen. And he goes, oh, boy. Or he goes, let's go. You just don't know. You have no idea. Very rarely are you going to have that just, okay, he's a freshman and he's a dude. You just very rarely have that.
Yeah.
It's a rare thing. It's awesome when you get it, but even if you're the best, like I said, talented and great, and you go to Tennessee, Ole Miss, or wherever, you still have to do it in that environment, and you just haven't done that environment. So it's very, very difficult to be a Division I freshman anywhere, mid-major, directional school, but Division I. It's incredibly, at any level, college, it's hard to do. So I'm going to go there and play. Well, that's great, but you're going to have to fight over 20 different dudes. You may be the best dude, but they've done it for 4 years and you haven't. And that coach knows that this guy is going to get a hit in this situation at LSU, and he has no idea what you're going to do. Guess who's going to get the at-bat? That guy. So you earn your stripes, obviously.
Sure.
But it's very, very, very hard to do.
And you got the transfer portal. Maybe a guy's coming away from a school that they wanted, and they're getting him for whatever reason, and they go, oh, yeah. And then all of a sudden, you're back another tick. Am I right?
Absolutely. The portal has thrown a wrench into high school, kids signing at different places like crazy. It's basically cut their opportunities in half. It literally
really
has.
Yeah.
It literally has. So that's why I said before that walk-on Division I guy is no longer a walk-on, because those guys that are coaching at those Division I schools, one, they want to keep their jobs, and two, they want to win. Okay, I'll take the All-American from Bowling Green. I'll take that guy instead of the high school guy. Now I'm only developing 4 or 5 high school guys as opposed to 10.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the nature of the beast these days. So that's what makes it even more difficult for these high school guys to get to those places and really succeed. You can, again, it's weird, but you can go to the Division II, Division III guy and be the All-American for a couple of years. Now you're the portal guy going to those schools, or the JUCO. That's kind of how it is these days. It really is. So you have to get into college sports, college baseball. You got to get in there, show what you can do. Come on over. Let's go. That's how it is these days. And the coaches know it. The players know it. The loyalty part, forget it. And I've coached forever, and I got out right before the portal stuff, but I don't know how these coaches do it. They go to the end of the year. You have the end of the year meetings with your roster. You have no idea who's going to walk in and go, I'm out, coach.
See ya.
You're seeing it right now in college football. The starting quarterback here, the starting quarterback there. The guy, they're awesome. Well, they're already in the portal, and we still got another week left of football, right? The playoff game. It's like they know already, and that's why, again, just an example of Texas A&M getting rid of the Jimbo Fisher.
Yes.
The portal is coming up, so they got to have a coach in place now to recruit the portal in that early signing period. So it's evolving quicker and earlier, and it's tougher for the high school guy.
And like you said, I thought that was the great point in there. Is great point. People forget these guys don't want to get fired. That's their livelihood. That's how they put food on the table. And so that's another level from high school. You may have some schools that, push that and then coach gets fired because he's not winning, but that doesn't happen as much. But college, that's what it's about. Putting wins. We want to go to the College World Series. We want to win our conference championship. We want to get to a regional or super regional.
And how do you do that? You're old and experienced. That's the recipe of every college team.
Oh.
And the portal is allowing them to do it. It really is.
And I think all of these things there's so much information out there, and how we help parents navigate this is really key to it all, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. And there's places for kids that want to play.
Absolutely.
And, I think with our high school program, we want kids that want to play college baseball. Give me those kids. They're going to come in. They're going to work. They're going to buy in the program, the philosophy. They're going to get after it. And they're, those are the kids that make it out on the other side, and they find a spot. Could be D3, could be JUCO, could be NAI, could be Division I. We don't, let it play out. But give me those kids that want to play college baseball. So
we also too teach them to take ownership of the process. We
Absolutely.
want them to be calling and knocking on the door. We'll certainly come in and say, hey, coach, you need to look at this dude. We'll certainly do that.
Yeah.
But we want them to own up to that process, and we give them all the tools and how to do it and what to do. And here's what to expect. Here's what's going to happen, most likely. Mm-hmm. But we want them to be in, because we're not going to college. They are. They're the ones they got to create those relationships with the coaches.
And that's true. You see this at other situations, for lack of a better way to put it, with people who are going to school for marketing, for law, for doctor, whatever the case, engineering. Who's hiring? A friend of mine, their oldest son went to Missouri S&T. His field, there are a higher percentage of jobs than there are people in school for that field. So he had a pick of his, come out of school, making good money, great opportunity. He was really good at it. Boom. How do people understand this same thought process with baseball? Where's your opportunity? What school? And I think that goes a little bit to, this school has 8 shortstops and you're a shortstop. Why do you want to go there? Can you play a corner outfield position? Are you good at it? Are you going to be able to move? Do you want to play shortstop? Is that what you want to do? I think you better maybe find a D2 school that you can go and play, and you might even start as a freshman if you're that good build a career. Maybe in 2 years you can get in the portal and go to another place. I don't think that there's a lot of the conversation. Agreed?
Oh yeah, it's reality, and sometimes when it hits them in the face, they don't want to hear it. But you got to keep. Hey, listen, dude, it's probably going to be like this. And it's the kids just don't want to. They don't, because my dream is this.
Yes.
You're telling me to do this. Well, that's you can dream all you want, but you have to go like this route and this route to get you to your final spot.
We're looking at Cody Schrader. He wanted to go to Mizzou. Well, he went to Truman State, but he ended up at Mizzou. That doesn't mean I like what you said. If you want to go to Florida State, fantastic. But it isn't always a matter of a direct route. You can do other things to get yourself there. You might have to go to a JC in Florida. I mean, if you go to Tampa, a D2 school there that, puts up 50-some wins every year.
They're pretty good.
They're pretty good. I mean, what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I look at this, guys, and I think this is, I try to say these things when we're having these conversations because I think it's important for people to hear. Quincy, it's a really solid D2 program. They've been in the playoffs the last, 3 years. Mm-hmm. Of course, UCM. It's a juggernaut. I like what, I met Scott Ewell from UMSL, his first, when he first came to the program. I like what he's doing. I think he's a tremendous recruiter. I really like his energy. I think he's got a great opportunity to make that program back. Maryville's come up. You've got Missouri Western. You've got Northwest Missouri State. Truman is up there. But there are some really good baseball schools, not to mention just NAIA. Central Methodist is in the top 25 every year.
Oh, yeah.
Columbia College has been there. You've got Missouri Baptist. I think they put up another 50 wins or 40-some wins again last year.
A lot of options.
There are I think if you've got a dream, that's fine. If you want to play, and like you said, but I think understanding and taking advice is key to your success. And I want to stress that. I've really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed your points and what you guys have said about your program. I didn't know that much about it. And I've really enjoyed what you've said about everything, Evan. I agree. Because I think parents, this is why we do these things. I want parents to hear this type of stuff because I think it's so important. These are people that you've been there, done that, understand the process. That doesn't mean you can't stop thinking about going to that next level, but maybe your path isn't always so direct, right?
Exactly. And you may get the left turn of the road and you stay on that path.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. You love it. You have a great experience.
Exactly. Get an education and then have a lot of success in your life. I don't think there's anything wrong. Mm-hmm. And then, you know what? There's a lot of guys that come back. You guys, I'm sure you've seen this. I love the fact that we get a lot of these young men back into the community that are working whatnot, but come back and coach. They come back and are part of the baseball community, right?
Yep.
I think I love that part of it. And I think you can make an impact and help in those situations and bring a lot of information and a wealth. I love what, the gray hair is not fooling anybody, man. It's sucking my will to live. Brett Graves with P3 and what he's doing over there, I think he's doing a great job coming back into the community. Yep. You know, he got to a place, didn't quite stay as long as he'd like to have, but now back in the community doing some good things. I think these are fantastic situations.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think St. Louis is in a good spot with baseball. I think when we see it too, like we're dealing with a lot of different cities around the country with our program, and St. Louis is very advanced in the market. Their parents, their clubs, their trainers, their facilities. It's just it's in a good spot. So, we see it every day. But
I love the talent level, throughout the state, on the Kansas City side. Mm-hmm. I think high school baseball is going to be really good this year. I think you got some really, really good teams. And you can't count out Liberty North to
do it again.
Oof.
Yeah.
A lot of talent out there, guys.
That's right.
A lot of talent. So, Aaron, Evan, thanks, gentlemen.
Yeah, no, thanks for having us. We really
Appreciate it,
enjoyed it.
for
This
sure.
is fun.
Appreciate your time, really. Guys, go check it out at
RawlingsTigers.com.
Rawlingstigers.com. If you're looking, I know everything this season is there. Good luck to you this season. I'm sure we've been out. We'll be out at Game 7 on some. Hopefully, we'll see in a championship game. We have seen some Rawlings Tigers in our we live stream a 14U championship game, and we've had your teams in there before.
Awesome.
So, yeah. In fact, it was last year. We had. Oh gosh. Karen, no. Oh my goodness. Well, because Billy Brown. Yes.
Yeah. Dan Kirkemeyer's team.
Yes. That's what it was. Thank you, Aaron. I see a lot of teams, and Billy Brown, nice, solid young player. He was he won the tournament outstanding player award for that one. Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. It's good, nice young man. I liked him. He was also out in the home run derby with us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for St. Louis Youth Sports Outreach.
Okay.
We've done the last 3 years. We've done a Cops versus Kids home run derby out at ABC Ballpark.
Ah.
And we pull in all these we pulled in all the 14U kids, a lot of the 14U kids that we saw throughout the season, and Billy was one of those. Will, he likes to go by Will. Sorry, Will. He told me that he says, I like to go by Will, so my bad. But and he was out there. He finished in second.
Cool.
So kid can swing the bat. Yeah. He's a smaller kid, but he'll grow, but swings the bat well. So there you go.
There you go. I like it.
Yeah. Gentlemen, thanks again. Appreciate it. Folks, if you like what we're doing, please take a moment, hit the subscribe button right there, and hit that dinger next to it, because that's what we do around here. We hit dingers because, chicks dig the long ball. Right? And that will get you all your notifications for upcoming episodes such as this. Stay tuned. We got some great stuff. We got our player spotlights coming up. We have the winter workout tour coming up, and we have some great guests coming up on the shows over the next few weeks. If you haven't, if you're looking, if you're a dad, you're coaching 7U to 14U, go to the website. You can find the link. We'll put the link available in the deal here. Sign up, register. We got 2 venues. We got the Hitting Zone in O'Fallon, where we'll have our Dad's Coaches Clinic, and then we'll be down at Champions Village for the one in the South on the 16th. So if you're looking to gain some knowledge, that's what we're here for. So till then, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Have a great day in the Lord. All you pitchers, keep throwing strikes. And hitters, got some advice for the hitters?
Drop bombs.
Oh, I love that. There you go. We'll see y'all next time.